Are you CES ready? Yeah. Great. Welcome to CES, and I am so delighted to stand before you today to introduce U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Elaine Chao, the first Asian American woman to be appointed to a president's cabinet in American history. This is in fact actually her second cabinet position. Previously, under another administration, she served as U.S. Secretary of Labor. Secretary Chao has a distinguished career in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Under Secretary Chao's leadership, a key U.S. Department of Transportation priority is engaging with new technologies to address legitimate public concerns about safety, security, and privacy without hampering innovation. She's been actively engaged in encouraging and challenging the high-tech sector to address issues of societal importance to our country. Secretary Chao's visionary leadership in the high-tech sector is preparing our country for the transportation systems of the future. Secretary Chao received her MBA from the Harvard Business School and is a recipient of 37 honorary doctorate degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Secretary Chao.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Gary, for your leadership. Over the last few decades, you've been terrific, and we want to give Gary a tremendous round of applause. I also would like to recognize the acting administrator for the Federal Transit Administration, Jane Williams, who is here in the audience. Jane, why don't you stand up? I'm going to go back a little bit in history. So during the 17th and 18th centuries, advancements in seaports, canals, and river navigation enabled commerce and leveraged America's extensive waterway assets. And in the 19th century, steam engine-powered boats and railway locomotives dramatically opened up the western frontier. And during the 20th century, the automobile potential was expanded with the building of the interstate highway system, and we harnessed also the sky and space. So the need and quest for more, better, safer transportation technologies never stops. In fact, the history of innovation and transportation are intertwined. So take automobiles, for example. They've changed a great deal over the decades, and thank goodness, in significant part because of the vehicle technology advancements. Annual traffic fatalities have actually declined 33% since 1972. And that achievement occurred while vehicle miles traveled actually increased 156%. The fatality rate in 1972 was nearly 4 times higher than it is today. And one thing we now know, and that is that newer cars are actually safer cars. Our data shows that your chances of surviving a serious crash nearly double if you are in a new car than if you are in a car that's 18 years old or more. So further improving traffic safety remains the department's greatest and ongoing transportation challenge. 2018 marked the second consecutive year of declining crash fatalities. And initial data for the first 3 quarters of 2019 indicate another yearly decline. So progress is being made. And in the past few years, a number of safety technologies have become commonly available in new cars, including blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, lane departure warnings, and automatic braking systems. These are just a few. These driver-assisted technologies are instrumental in automated vehicles, which are among the most exciting ongoing developments in transportation today. Automated vehicles will someday advance traffic safety as they transform surface transportation. Automated vehicles have the potential to save thousands of lives annually and improve the quality of life through reduction of traffic congestion, increased productivity, and environmental benefits as well. AVs would restore also mobility for millions of people who face transportation challenges, such as the elderly or the disabled. In 2017, the U.S. Department of Transportation provided voluntary guidelines on the development of automated vehicles. It was called Automated Driving Systems 2.0, a Vision for Safety. And in the following year, the department actually addressed AV developments across all surface transportation modes. And that is because the developments in technology in this field was happening so quickly. So we came out with AV 3.0. Basically, it's entitled Preparing for the Future of Transportation, Automated Vehicles 3.0. And today, I am pleased to announce the release of AV 4.0, ensuring American leadership in automated vehicle technologies. AV 4.0 is a joint White House and U.S. Department of Transportation initiative. And the takeaway from AV 4.0 is that the federal government is all in for safer, better, and more inclusive transportation, aided by automated driving systems. AV 4.0 unifies AV efforts across 38 different federal agencies and departments, and independent agencies, and commissions, and executive office of the president. You get the drift. This document and set of guidelines recognizes the value of private sector leadership in AV research, development, and integration. This kind of innovation requires appropriate government oversight to ensure safety, open markets, strategic allocation of public resources, and of course, protection of the public interest. But realizing the vast potential of AVs will require collaboration and information sharing among industry partners, state and local governments, academia, nonprofits, standards development organizations, and of course, the 38 different federal government agencies, independent commissions, departments. So AV 4.0 will inform this collaborative effort in automated vehicles for all stakeholders and outlines federal government efforts to address areas of concern. AV 4.0 establishes U.S. government principles organized around 3 core interests and their components. The first principle is protect users and communities. AV technologies are not yet advanced enough to enable wide-scale deployment of fully autonomous vehicles. As development continues in the years ahead, the federal government's areas of focus in protecting users and communities will be to, number 1, prioritize safety. Safety must always be number 1, and it is at the U.S. Department of Transportation. Number 2, we've got to emphasize security, especially cybersecurity. And number 3, we've got to address public concerns about increasing mobility and accessibility. And ensure, number 3, is ensure privacy and also data security. The number 2 principle is to promote efficient markets. It should not be the role of the federal government to pick winners or losers. So principle number 2 entails, number 1, remaining technology neutral. 2, protecting American innovation and creativity by protecting intellectual property. 3, modernizing all these different regulations. Regulations are needed, but when they become obsolete, irrelevant, outdated, they need to be changed. The third principle is to facilitate coordinated efforts. And we do this through, number 1, promoting consistent standards and policies. And 2, to ensure a consistent federal approach. And number 3, to improve transportation system level effects. As stated in the report's cover letter, the landscape for AV innovation is complex and evolving, but the goals are pretty simple. They're clear and consistent. They need to improve safety, security, and the quality of life for all Americans. That's the barometer for success. And that will be the result of these and other transportation initiatives and innovations currently underway. So innovation is occurring in all modes of transportation. Aviation is experiencing tremendous growth of unmanned aircraft systems, or drones. Using drones for surveying damaged environmental circumstances or scenarios, or utilizing drones for search and rescue, or for agricultural applications and delivery of packages, and even passengers, are just a few of the current and future potential uses of drones. There are now 1.5 million drones in the skies, and over 160,000 remote pilots are now registered with the FAA. This is a job category that did not even exist 5 years ago. So the department is charting a course for the safe integration of these innovations into our national airspace. And these initiatives include allowing drone testing in a variety of environments, advancing drone airspace management, and developing a framework for remote drone identification, which has significant security implications. The Department of Transportation recently announced a notice of proposed rulemaking for remote identification of drones. And the proposed remote ID rule would apply to all drones over half a pound that are required to be registered with the Federal Aviation Administration. So remote IDs will enhance safety and security by allowing the FAA, law enforcement, and federal security agencies to identify drones flying in their jurisdiction. And as the FAA and operators move towards a traffic management system for drones, remote ID technologies will help lay the foundation for the safe deployment of more complex drone operations. And these include, among other initiatives, beyond the virtual and visual line of sight at low altitudes. So for those who are interested, the 60-day public comment period ends on March 2nd, 2020. And I think for all of us who have read about or seen recent news developments out of Colorado and also Nebraska of mystery drones flying informations at night, well, that's certainly a timely illustration of why remote IDs are needed. And then let me talk about one other mode of transportation. No pun intended, but space transportation innovations is actually taking off as well. Thanks to reusable rockets, air launch systems, and other private sector initiatives. So 6 years ago, the US was third behind Russia and China in commercial space launches. Today, the US is number one in commercial space launches. In 2019, there were 34 US launches and re-entries, and the global space economy's value is approaching $400 billion annually. So the US Department of Transportation is streamlining launch and re-entry licensing processes to enable further growth in the commercial space sector. Outdated and cumbersome licensing regulations and launch procedures are being overhauled. And in fact, we've established an Office of Spaceports just recently as well. So there will be even more activity, including some rulemakings in this arena later this year. And for some who are interested in commercial space travel, they're even thinking about using commercial space travel launches to go, let's say, from the Western Hemisphere to the Eastern Hemisphere, and it'll take a few minutes. So as you can plainly see, as we can all see, being here at CES is so exciting. We see in the displays at CES, on America's roads and in our skies, such exciting transportation advancements that are occurring. Transportation today is synonymous with innovation, and transportation is going to be as instrumental in America's future as it has been since our nation's founding. And at the U.S. Department of Transportation, we are preparing for the transportation system of the future. And all of this speaks to our preparation for the future transportation system that will make all of our lives easier, more enjoyable, and increase the standard of living for everyone on Earth. Now, I'm just a warm-up act. You're going to hear from Michael Kratsios, and you're going to hear from Tiffany more about enhancing America's leadership in automated systems in the world, and also more guidance about AV 4.0. So it's always such a pleasure to be here in CES, and thanks so much again for having me. Thanks.